Hi, I'm Nicole Sultanum, and I'm going to talk about DataTales, joint work with Arjun Srinivasan to investigate how large language models can be used for data stories. Data stories come in many forms, but at the core, they consist of visual data representations connected by an underlying narrative. Knowledge professionals of all kinds create data stories as part of their work, like journalists crafting a data-driven article, business analysts sharing findings with stakeholders, and educators telling a visual story with data. Data stories are a great delivery format to engage an audience, but crafting the underlying narrative is hard. Beyond data analysis skills, there are creative muscles involved to navigate all the ways a story can be told. Also, putting the story down in writing, be it as an article or a script for a video or a presentation, is a really time-consuming task. Now, with the rise of generative AI, there's increased interest in leveraging large language models or LLMs to support all kinds of writing tasks, with the potential to provide inspiration for starting points, different ways to tell the story, and different perspectives to consider. Maybe they can help with data stories as well. Now, we also know these models come with many limitations. First is that direct prompting is a challenging mode of interaction and a particularly cumbersome one when considering all the data analysis context that goes into a data story. There are also errors and hallucinations that need to be manually inspected. Plus, in the case of data stories, there's extra effort in aligning narrative and visuals. In view of these limitations, we envision that an LLM-supported data story authoring experience would explore intuitive pathways for story generation that are not necessarily prompt-based, fit well within a data story workflow, leveraging data, charts, as well as an author's narrative intent, and provide tools for authors to validate and improve on generated output. Within that, we came up with a minimal viable solution to probe data story authors on whether LLM support could add value to their authoring workflows. We started off with a very basic dynamic. From a given chart, we have enough context to generate a basic story that encompasses the whole dataset. To nudge the story in a particular direction, the author can interact with the chart and select data points of interest, which generates another story focused on said author selection. Multiple stories can be generated this way, all focusing on different aspects of the data. And this is how everything comes together. Given a chart and optional annotations, an author will request a new story. DataTales creates a prompt, including features from the input chart and annotations, and passes this prompt to the LLM to generate both the text and a proposed title for the story. This is the prompt we use, derived after trying a number of different variations with mixed outcomes. More details in the paper, but here's how chart annotations translate into a prompt. Note that they reflect the semantic meaning of the annotation operations and not just a subset of selected data points. To help authors do a quality check on generated content, DataTales also detects text chart links and highlights corresponding chart elements when interacting with the text. In a nutshell, DataTales allows authors to annotate a chart to guide the focus of the story, manage multiple story versions, and help inspect the story via text chart links. With this basic setup, we wanted to expose data story authors to this concept to understand the pros and cons of including LLMs as part of the authoring process and how to improve moving forward. So we recruited 11 data professionals with data communication experience to take part in a qualitative study. We asked them to author a data-driven article using DataTales, whichever way made sense within their authoring workflows, for a chart of their choice among these four options. From think aloud and follow-up interviews, we found that, despite the relatively bare-bones nature of DataTales, participants were pretty optimistic about it. They picked up pretty quickly how to use chart annotations to guide the story, and oftentimes that was just what they needed. Other times, though, there were more nuanced asks like, "Tell me why this category has so many outliers," which chart annotations could perhaps be extended to support. In addition, participants also wanted more control over global features like tone and voice that sort of permeate across the story. Back to the pros, participants were excited about the time-saving prospects of DataTales, even when it generated not-so-great stories, because it gave them starting points, something to work with and get over writer's block. And it was also helpful with getting the story going, like ideas for phrasing, interesting angles they didn't consider before, and having multiple versions of stories again allowed them to pick and choose whatever they wanted to add to their story. On the other hand, having to read through lots of these stories was tiresome and they wished for faster ways to do that, for example, via bullet point summaries. They also wanted more fine-grained control over the story generation, at a paragraph or sentence level, for example, by filling in the blanks. And finally, beyond authoring support, we found that DataTales actually indirectly supported data analysis tasks, from added external context to intriguing interpretations of the data provided by the LLM. Authors felt compelled to dive deeper into data exploration and include more data and more research questions. One related point of improvement to that is that when authors saw a data-driven insight that wasn't expected to them, they wanted to know where it came from. Was it from their data or the LLM's knowledge base? On that, they hoped for an easier way to retrieve external data and external sources to verify these statements, which could also serve as a bridge to expand analysis efforts. To sum it up, our data sales journey has shown that despite current limitations, content generation supported by LLMs can help data story authors in more ways than just writing the story. The added perspective helps authors think more deeply about the data, and this could be an interesting way to bridge the gap between analysis and storytelling. Other meaningful future work would be to experiment with additional promptless ways of guiding the story that are more expressive, perhaps with expanded chart annotations or looking into writing micro tasks. For more details, check out the paper or just reach out.